Let's create a line filter application using Python. So what is line filter? The line filter application means that it is any command line application that takes input from std in and actually produces output to std out, standard output. Line filter means command line application. So some examples of line filters are grep and sed. Grep and sed are command line applications. Those are examples of line filters. Let's use Python to perform some tasks such as we will pass files, and whatever the files we pass, and it should read those content from those files or location, and then should produce the all the content in caps in on std out, standard output. For that reason, so let's open line filter application. It's a very command line application. Command line application in the sense, go to the terminal. If you go to the terminal, so I'll show you an example of line filter here. So suppose I have main.py. You see this one, main.py. Cat is the command. So if you see here, you can see this. This is simple Python script. You see some text here, right? So an example of line filter is grep. So grep is command line up. Grep is an example of line filter, which is a very popular command on Unix and Linux systems. There I want actually every instance of Python in that file. So what I will do, give me all instances of Python. So there is no word with Python because it is actually doing case sensitive search. I can do the case insensitive. You can see here it is printing a particular line that contains a Python. If I want to print if there is any and or the, I want the cat main, or I can grab the, and from where I'm searching main.py, I can see the every instance where every line that has a the word the here. So this is command line application. We're not creating an app, so it is app like a mobile application or web application. It is very sort of a basic command line application. So any command line application that takes input from std in, standard input, and produces the output to standard output, we call it as a line filter. Now we are creating we are creating somewhat a command that reads content from the file and then produces that whatever is content read from the file in a all caps to the standard output. Standard output means terminal here. I'll rename this thing to, or we can create a new file here, to upper.p. Any files or location directory that is specified. So we need to read all files from that directory. and then produce output in caps, all the content from that directory or location. So for that reason, so we need to import sys configure Python interpreter. So what are the command line arguments? Anything you pass the command. So for suppose this cat is a command and main.py that you're passing as an argument to the command, we call them as command line arguments. How do you read those command line arguments? In Python, we use sys.arg. For suppose passed arguments, sys.arg b. This is a list which represent all arguments that are command line arguments that are passed, except the first one which represents just the script itself, command itself. For suppose if I run this thing, if I go to terminal, you have a 2 upper right, Python space 2 upper, hello 293. Okay, Python 3, the command. And you can see here list this.argv. This is a library from the module from the standard library, and sys.argv represents a list where the first always it represents all command line arguments except the first one which represents the module name or script name itself, first one. So here we expect a list of arguments that are actually file names, file names f names equal to this.argv. I need from the beginning. I don't want a 0th index, so that from index 1 we need everything. So what we will do for f in f names with open with is a statement which is a with the it provides the actually implicit context management. It will take care of actually if the particular object supports context management, it will perform the tear down, such as if it is a file, closing that file at the end of the when the control exists the with statement or with block, so that I'm opening file f in a read mode, right? Because I wanted to read from that file as file pointer or file object f4, and I wanted to print that for a line in f4. Okay, and this one thing I wanted to show you, let's say that let's create one file here. X.txt. So working. If I go to interpreter, file of x.txt. Oh, open for I in F. So can you see here that for loop handles those lines line by line, seamlessly. So either we can read f.seek, we can go to beginning of the file, f.read lines or read lines, we can get all the lines, or we can use for loop to iterate over each line. So here I am iterating over each line, and print of line dot upper. And how do you run this command lines application? I go to exit, on space to upper. For suppose if I give wrong file, hello.txt, we get an error because we're not performing error handling properly here. But if I give right file, and do you see everything in upper? Hello world, working fine. Everything is in upper here. So this is a simple line filter application. For suppose we can do something like finder. Let's do something like a text finder.py, and we can borrow code from there. And I want, if particular word is there, two arguments we wanted to pass. One is the first one is a word, and second one is a file name. Here we can use from Python standard library. There is something called ArgParser. It makes our life easier to define commands. For suppose if I'll show you one thing here how commands work. For suppose there's a curl command. If I go to curl, it defines all possible options it takes, command line arguments it takes. For curl, I can give -i google.com to print just headers, and response line. You can see. So here, this is a command line application, we call it as. And we can define this whole stuff. We can write this whole stuff by ourselves, or what we can do, we can make use of ArgParser. ArgParser example. So let me borrow. Let's borrow code from here. How it works. First one, we wanted to take W or a word. Then argument file name. Okay. And then we can pass arguments. Let's, let's test this thing out before. And you can see here usage. We haven't coded this whole stuff by ourselves. Where this arc parser is taken care of. The first one is suppose if I give help or h, it takes word and then file name. So if I pass word Python file name text, and you can see here arguments automatically it allots word equal to Python, file name equal to txt. Otherwise we need to take care of actually writing this error handling and printing proper help message and passing those arguments. We don't have to take care of all that heavy lifting, where this is totally taken care of this arg parser, so we can use it and appropriately get those arguments. And so yes, just import arg parser and define what arguments you receive, and it will take care of parsing these arguments. For suppose it will take care of appropriately mapping and parsing those arguments. And now here I can print given word equal to args dot word, and print file name equal to args dot file name. Okay, that Python space text finder, then word equal to Python or programming, and then text.txt. You can see the given word is programming and the file name is text. So we are able to pass those arguments with the help of by making use of argparse module. And now I need to find, this code will help us. In this previous two upper I haven't used any argparser. Here we have used it, and let's uncomment this. And the file name, file name already, right? So only one file we will look at, making it simple enough. So we can make it even complex enough to look at all different files on a particular directory, or all files in a particular drive, or according to regular expression wildcard. We can do all of that stuff, but ox dot, we will make it optional now. We will make it simple enough now. So for line in, we are doing a case sensitive set. Okay, and matches equal to, let's keep it empty list. If there is a match, so we will append matches dot append, and we will append the tuple of index comma line. And at the end, once everything is done, we will print. Okay, found is found at format of, so which one, args dot var join. So C Python space text finder, then if you help, it will show us word Python, and then text.txt is the file. There's a, okay, so check that expected string tuple found. I can use list comprehension here for in this, which is tuple, right? Let's say index comma line, index comma L. And you see here, is it working? Given word Python, looking at the text, Python found it. Fourth line, probably this is the fifth line, because you look at fifth line. Why? Because this is indexed from 0, right? We can fix that because index starts from 0, isn't it? So just erase that. Since it is an index starts from 0, now check that. So it found Python at the fifth line, Python programming, and then 30th line, happy Python programming. So here is the Python, and fifth line, here is the Python it found. So let's say let's check if we give programming Python. You can see here fifth line, 9th, and 13th. Fifth line programming, 9th line programming, and 13th. And what if actually I don't give file name? So you can see here program name. So error. Following arguments are required, which is file name. So who is taking care of this error handling? Our ArgParser. This ArgParser, argument parser, is taking care of that. If I give word programming and I don't pass the usage a program name, so here I can use what is program name text finder. Text finder. Uses text finder. Error. Following arguments are required. File. They don't pass. So you can actually do per argument basis. We can give what we can do. We can define the action. We can define the help message, and this makes our life easier. Argument parser, by passing command line arguments for us. Otherwise, I would have to go to, suppose you can see here, if I give text, and I would have to go to command line. You see argument passed, this one. I have commented this dot argv. So otherwise we would have to go to argv and actually validate that everything, whether argument passed or not. If not passed, then showing error message, something like that. So for suppose here, to upper, python space to upper, if I give, and text dot txt, it is showing everything in upper, but if I don't pass, we'll get an error. We see we passed the argument. If I don't pass, or wrong file is passed, we get an error. Okay, so for suppose if I pass extra, we get error. So so if we pass extra arguments, or if not enough arguments are there, so we need to take care of that. That is taken care by argument parser module. This is a simple example of line filters. So some of the popular commands that are the these are all line filter commands. Cat, cut, grep, com, sed, tree, tr, unique. So that take input, those are the Linux commands. Shell scripting, used in shell scripting. To take input from std in or standard input, and processes that input and produces output to standard output or std out.